Hey guys, Vincent here, and today I wanted to talk with you about our new Black Paper Moon Soul Punk. So this is very exciting for me. So essentially, I released Black Paper Moon 3 years ago, and over that course of time, I've gotten a lot of feedback. This has been one of our most popular games that Vindicated has released, but it was very much a game that had really fun systems, very fun mechanic, especially with the die tower mechanic. But it was sort of lacking some more of the lore and some more mechanics that people resonate with Soul Eater. So I wanted to be sure, and puns always intended. I wanted to be sure that we sort of beef this up. So in behind the scenes, in the shadows, even on my birthday, I was listening to Soul Eater music and Halloween music while working on this update. We took it from 75 pages to 190 pages. So a lot of crazy stuff going on here. So we have Umberwood Academy, which is sort of like our main sort of like Hogwarts Academy. It's where hunters go and train to become hunters or eventually reapers, so they can fight off witches and darkness and a lot of fun stuff. Now, on this one, I also added other academies such as Ashgrove Institute, Crimson Thorn Seminary, Ebencrest Academy, Luminera Conservatory, Moonfall Seminary, and Obsidian Hollows. We also have a whole section talking about the light and the spirit, which talks about more of the spiritual side of things. Then we have this fun little Vindicated logo that may or may not be inspired by a cool popular anime. We also have a building character section, and also I made something a little different with this. I completely remade the book from scratch, and I made it so that there's different visual elements to cue you in to different areas. Now, of course, we also have bookmarks as well, but you can also just start getting used to the visual distinctions and tell from that as well. We have elements, which is a new thing that's been added. It was sort of lightly touched upon in the original game, but we now expanded that a bit more to allow for some more like easy dynamic gameplay. Sort of inspired a bit by Pokemon and a little bit by Yu-Gi-Oh for those. Reapers and Shadows. This is sort of your mainstay with like playing a Reaper, which controls a shadow, which can turn into a weapon of their choice. And then this actually tells you how weapons and Reapers can interact. And there's different ranks as well that were added to the game. The 7 ranks of hunters. You have your initiates. You have your hunter, your warden, your exorcist, your reaper, your arch reaper, and the death master. And they all have new powers that get added as well for that. Reapers and Shadows, the Spirit Scale. So essentially, if you're watching like Soul Eater and you're talking about like Tsubaki and Blackstar, you could sort of like rank their scales based off of this, or their spirit rather, on the scale, whether it's righteous, lawful, collected, balanced, free, chaotic, wicked. And whenever you try to do like a soul resonance, which is called spirit linking, your connection will be dependent on that. So a lot of different information for that going on here. Spirit Link Resonance, which is your ultimate attack. This discusses your Shadow Reaper actions, because a big difficulty a lot of people have with the idea of having sort of like a weapon and Meister combo is not knowing if like who gets what actions, how do we make that fun and fair. So I went ahead and worked that out for you guys so you didn't have to do that work. We also have fast hunter creation, so this just gives you like a 1d6. You roll for their rank, their weapon special, their power, their deviation, their element, the weakness, and their item. That's just for a good go-to. You can obviously mix it up from there. You don't have to keep what that is. Then we have Ulf, the Berserker. This is something that my friend made years ago, so I loved tagging him in here. This is a sample character that you can read there. Then we also have our squad, our main squad here, such as Mary, ready to slay. So it starts off with her, and she's, obviously playable in the game to start you off. We have Jake Potokim. This is Marcelo's favorite character. He was inspired a bit by Ramza from Final Fantasy Tactics, among other characters. Then we have good old Frankster Muniz, our little Frankenstein guy, little brawler. We have Margaret Bishop, or yeah, Margaret Bishop. she's a fun character that's a mystic, which we dive more into the lore behind witches and mystic in this. Get into the core gameplay. Mostly the gameplay is the same as the original Black Paper Moon. The biggest exception is there is now a what we call double trouble. So instead of having exploding dice, we now made it unique for Black Paper Moon, where you will roll 2 dice as long as you're good with that given thing, whether that's attacking or defending. And if those numbers match, that is when you have a unified, like, critical success. So you're looking for matches. Unless you're getting matching ones, then that is not good for you. That is a critical fail. We have critical defense. We have our character Kara here. Natural 1, automatic failure. We have this guy falling into lava, which is kind of funny. The die tower. Now this is the unique mechanic behind Black Paper Moon. This is what started the whole game, actually. It's the idea that as you fail challenges, you start stacking dice onto this dice tower, like as you see Mary here. And the problem is if you fail, you might fall in the lava, such as that guy. So you don't want to have the dice tower crumble on you, and that's what makes this game stand out a bit different than others. Now, if you play this game online, there is a variant of this, which is called the die roll. Die tower variant, just in case, because it's a little hard to replicate the dice tower online. Whereas if you play in person, you can obviously do that. Dealing with death, there's a whole section for that here with a little Reaper friend. We have wishes, which you gain through successfully placing die onto the die tower. And so it goes through that as well. We have the Death Wish variant for more experienced players, which adds a fun little challenge. And then we have our little difficulty levels here, which shows you what you need to roll for adventuring quests, restoration, and we have a whole madness section, which is new. So this is indicated by the red pages here, and essentially this is a whole madness mechanic you can add. So this was inspired by like things in Soul Eater, where Professor Stein was he was experiencing madness when the Kishin was released, and I had a lot of fun kind of playing with this section. There's a lot of like little things I did here to sort of like mess with things. So maybe you can maybe you can have some fun with that. We have a little equipment section, rank and wealth. Very streamlined rules. It's very fast, simple to just jump into and play. Combat is very straightforward. Let's see, we have that. We have your actions, very basic. You basically have a movement action, an attack action, and that's generally what you do in a turn. We have your initiative, attacking and defense, movement and range, flow of combat, your campaigns and how those go, your challenge stars. Essentially, it's a simplified challenge rating system. Leveling up is pretty simple. Then we get into some of the fun stuff like exercising the wicked, expanding your powers, the mini monsters under the moon. So in Black Paper Moon, there's a lot of different things happening here. We have the Chimera. We also have cursed monsters, which are people that have succumbed to evil and literally transformed into monsters underneath the Black Paper Moon. We also have Dark Lords, which are your highest ranking. They sort of break the ranking system because they go from 5-star, which was the maximum before, but now it's 6 stars. We also have demons, which are not good, to say the least. Witches, who have corrupted themselves for forbidden power. So I know Hex is pretty attractive over here, but you have to watch out for those witches, I tell you. Monsters and quests. We have information about that, and then this new section called the Hunt. So it's a specific type of quest you can do that goes into sort of like a different phase. So you have a preparation phase where you have people that each have their own individual task and sort of set up the hunt prior to the hunt. And then whenever you go on the hunt, I didn't think I'd be saying the hunt so often, but I think you get the idea of what I'm saying. This lays out basically how you prepare a hunt quest. And then we have some sample ones here, such as the Red Lake Siren, the Clockwork Fiend, the Hollow Child, the Candle Widow, etc. So gives you some nice ideas. about where to go with that. We also have witches, the history of witches, forces of evil, signs of witches, and then combating them. Because in Soul Eater, witches play a pretty major part in the story, so I wanted that to be the same for Black Paper Moon. And so we have a whole section dedicated to them, and also mystics, which are essentially usually reformed witches. They use more of like light magic instead of the dark magic. And then there's a whole section for spellcasting, which this doesn't just apply to Black Paper Moon. This just applies to the Vindiverse in general. So if you didn't know, our Vindicated games all share a universe, and it's fun being able to craft a spellcasting system for Black Paper Moon, but it also applies to the whole Vindiverse as well. Then we have the Aurelian clan, which I was inspired by Black Star's clan from Soul Eater. I wanted to do my own take, so instead of having like a ninja clan with the ninja stars, we have the Aurelian clan, which was also a little bit inspired by Rafa and Merrick from Final Fantasy Tactics, but the initial inspiration was definitely from Soul Eater there. So it goes into them a bit, so they add a little bit more to the story if you want to go that route. We also have the Creature Codex, which starts off with a little simple bat swarm, but then we have some legends such as Buffbeard here. And all this is in alphabetical order. So we have the Chupacabra, and they vary in difficulty, which you can tell by the stars on the side here. And we added so many pages to the Monster Codex. In the original game, I think we had 20 different monsters, and this is at least double. We have Frankenstein's monster, we have a ghost, we have little variants such as our little chainsaw ghost here, which I personally love, the grenade ghost, gray Martian, goblins. So this is our new character, Yo Ming. She's our monster girl of the month. We basically send out cards for our card game players every single month, and we started doing monster girls, and so she's the one for October. And we were able to fit her in as well. So you essentially have the Jiangxi here, but we also have the Yoming variant, which adds to her stats. We have our character Lilith, we have Mr. Shuck, we have Killer Robots, we have Kayugan, one of our main characters, we have a mummy, we have a skeleton, we have Spider Bag, we have a spirit, the Tide Ghoul, Trixie, werewolf, vampire, Victor, good old Legend of Victor Frankenstein over here. So actually I borrowed him from our game Legendaria. So he's based off the legend. It just so happens to work out that we have a character based off of Stein as well. But we tried to make our take a little different. So he has his own unique look. And then we have the Wendigo, of course. We have Witches, which has different versions of those there. We have our Witch Hexa, Zombie. And then we have a sample adventure in case you want to run your players through that and want to be guided through it. And then we have our credits. And then we have a little section for our other games for you to check out. So, and then we have a character sheet at the back. And so as you can tell, a lot of fun stuff, a lot of fun artwork. There's over $2,000 worth of art put into this. I'm sure there's like 1,000 hours worth of time put into it. This was 3 years after the initial game. So, I want this to be the single best game to go to if you're looking for a Soul Eater tabletop role-playing game. And so, that's my mission for Black Paper Moon. And so, we'll keep making this better, but this is where it's at now. I think this is a very great update in the right direction. We will be selling the original for the core rules, but I think that this is definitely the way to go. This is the definitive edition. You can check it out on our website, which I'll pull up here. So on our website, vindicatedentertainment.com, you have our main games and stuff there. But if you go to shop, you can see the RPG there. And under the Black Paper Moon tab, under RPGs, we'll have a lot of resources here which you can check out. Oh yeah, and we were endorsed by Chuck Huber, who's one of my favorite voice actors who also voices Professor Stein. But essentially, when you scroll down here, you'll see that there's different, you can get the game, get character sheets, You can get a Foundry character sheet, all that fun stuff. So you can check that out in the Black Paper Moon tab. And on top of that, if you go to shop, you can see all the different stuff we have here. And we also have like little categories. So if you want to hit spooky, if you're a fan of spooky stuff like I am, you can see what we got going on in that realm. And then we have Black Paper Moon Soul Punk Digital Definitive Edition. Now we have this on sale until the end of Halloween. Maybe I'll extend it slightly past that because I know this video might be getting out a little bit later. But if you're following us in our newsletter or our Discord server, you would have known about the sale. So don't want to miss out on that. But essentially that was the original price for Black Paper Moon. We gave this updated version to everyone that backed it in the previous 3 years. We gave this to them for free. But essentially moving forward, I mean, we put so much more work into this that, you know, we don't want to underprice ourselves, and we want to be able to keep paying for, you know, good quality art and be able to support the artists that we work with and be able to support ourselves. So we will be having to move up on the price from that point. But whether you check out the Soul Punk version or you get the normal version, or you just jump into our Discord or something, I mean, it's all appreciated. You can scroll down to the bottom here, check out our Patreon, check out our Discord over here, social media handles, etc. We'd love to have you there. Like I said, all those links are in the description below. Thank you so much for checking out Black Paper Moon. If you're a huge fan of Soul Eater, I definitely recommend checking it out. Thank you so much. As always, stay awesome.